Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Nikki here, and today I have a flip through of my completed journal that I made for Junk Journal July using the prompts from Meg Journals, which I think most of us have probably used. So I did post a video up when I created this journal. I made it out of a magazine and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So the first thing I did was I was in a swap of junk journal supplies with two other Australian ladies, thanks to a post by 49 Dragonflies. She's done this with a few people and I managed to connect with two local Queenslanders, and one of the beautiful things that I got was this lovely snippet roll, and I decided to use the majority of it to create my closure because I thought it looked so pretty and quite complimentary to the cover that I made. So I also got this lovely silk ribbon as part of the swap, so I just sort of attached that at the end, and that's what I've done for my closure. And of course I've got this sort of, looks a little bit like a, oops, got to glue that little bit down there. Looks a little bit like a quilt, but I just created that out of paper scraps. And I made it long enough so that it would fold over and would go right up to the edge to cover the magazine. And I have a tiny little printout of the prompts just so I had them handy. So the very first day was welcome. It's winter here in Australia, so I have a photo of some jumpers and just a few little dark bits. I'm not a big fan of winter. I definitely prefer summer, so that sort of reflects what's on that page. The next day is highlights, day 2, and being winter, one of my favourite things to do, most of our days are sunny. They're not necessarily warm in Queensland, but they're usually sunny. We don't get a lot of rain. So I come home after a busy day at work and I sit outside and I have my coffee, check Facebook, whatever else I feel like doing. So that is the highlight of many of my days during winter, is to enjoy a coffee out and having a little bit of sunshine. Then of course the next day, Botanicals. I have just grabbed things out of a botanical book that I got and a piece of leftover wrap from some flowers that my mum received ages ago, and just a few other little bits just to create a botanical style page, and a cute little butterfly, pardon me, just for a little tiny pop of colour. Then the next day is details. Now, I got a bit stumped with this one because when I made this journal, I just popped things, I covered the pages so you couldn't see the magazine, and I did the entire book in advance because I knew if I had to not only decide what I was going to pop on the page, if I also had to do all of the backgrounds, I knew I probably wouldn't complete it and I'd end up behind. And my initial plan, I had stuck this doily down to cover the magazines. And then I realised that it didn't fit, it didn't go to the end, and honestly, so in the end, I went with something really simple. I'd been flipping through a magazine that I get from a local supermarket, and it had this gorgeous picture of a salad in there. So I popped that down. I also cut out a recipe, and actually, I lied. This was from a Daphne's Diary magazine, I remember now, because I also got this gorgeous antique looking spoon and a glass of lemon water and a little salt shaker, pepper shaker. And I just popped that down for details. The recipe's there, a picture of what it looks like's there, and that's what we ended up with, because I was quite stumped for a while on what to put down on that page. Then the next one is vintage, and I stuck down some of a sewing pattern. So I decided I had to have a sewing theme for this one. So I used a stamp on a piece of craft paper, grabbed a couple of little sewing sort of things, even put a tiny little bit of coffee dyed fabric with a pin and a needle. And then I had created this gorgeous tag with some little buttons. So I decided to pop that in there and then just created a bit of an edge, little tuck spot there with some lace and cute flower trim. So that was vintage done. Then Minimalist, again, couldn't decide what to do. So look, let's be honest, I love all things coffee. So I created a very basic, simple page with a little bit of texture paste, and that's my Minimalist version. Then this one was, the prompt was envelope. So I just decorated an envelope that creates a little tuck spot if I ever want to pop something in there. This was from a magazine image. I just cut around it to paste all those stamps down there, popped a few real ones on, and just a few other little bits that sort of relate to sitting down and actually handwriting someone a letter. Oh, now this one here, Wanderlust, I had already put the background down, which of course was from an atlas. One of the things we can't do in Australia is actually leave the country, unless of course you need to go for business and whatever. You can apply for exemptions, but we can't travel anywhere basically. Right at this minute, things are so bad, I can't even travel interstate. So this was sort of just a gentle, sad reminder that I cannot hop on a plane and travel overseas. Next. Okay, so then the next one is pattern. And one of my favorite patterns is mermaid scales, because I'm pretty sure I should have been born a mermaid. I always say that. So I just went through my stash and just found all sorts of things that had the mermaid scale pattern on it, and I plopped them down on the page. Simple as that. I do love all things mermaid. Then the next one, no, hang on, where are we going? Yes, trash to treasure. Okay, what I did, the background now has a second background on it, and what I put down was actually, this is a mushroom bag. So when we buy mushrooms in the supermarket, we get little brown paper bags with mushroom print on it to take them home. It keeps them nicer in the fridge rather than them being in plastic. So I just went for a mushroom themed spread for this day. And my trash to treasure, well, that's my background paper, and it gave me the theme to work with. The next one was favourite supply, and I'd pretty much have to say it would be paint. I love playing with paint. So the background was a piece that I had painted, and then I've got this gorgeous stamp kit that is paint related. So I just stamped them out on white paper and stuck them down for contrast. Again, nice and simple because I already had the background done. Makes things quick and easy. Then the next one is in the garden. Well, it's the middle of winter here in Australia, so the garden is as boring as. I barely have green grass because we don't have a lot of rain. There is not a single flower in my garden. I've got quite a few green leaves, but not much else. So this page is simply to represent the fact that that's about all you'll find. Nothing pretty in my garden at the moment. Obviously, this would be a lot of fun if you're on the other hemisphere and it's nice and warm and there's all sorts of pretty flowers around. But no, I'm afraid I don't have any of those. Now, this one here is just, oh, it's a bit of a joke really, but the prompt for this day was morning. Now, in my world, 5 days a week, my alarm goes off at 4 a.m. because I start work at 5. So this was just a bit of a representation of what most of my mornings look like. When I get up, it is still dark outside and I can see the stars and quite often the moon. And I always make my bed every single day. Yes, even at 4:30 in the morning, I make my bed. So this was just a little bit of a fun play on what my mornings usually look like. Then the next one is Monochrome. Again, kept it really simple, just tore up some black and white papers, stuck them down, and I had this gorgeous little black dress ephemera piece, which I popped down just to sort of give it something a little bit pretty. But again, very quick, very simple. Then the next one is layered. Now, I don't know why, but I had already, see all these pieces, they're all strips of paper. They had been glued down as my background. So I decided just to go with the garden theme. So I've got a few stickers, a few magazine cutouts and things like that. And we've sort of got a little bit of a garden happening down the bottom. So that is layered. Okay, here I was also having a little bit of fun. On the 16th, the prompt was borders. Now, of course, you know, most people did all these pretty borders and things. No, not me. I already had this background down, and I found a map of Australia that fits perfectly on this page. And then I drew a big red line around it to represent the fact that, oh, we have borders, all right. We're locked inside this. I mean, it's a giant piece of land, but I live here. I can't even go down and visit this state at the moment. Can't go down and visit where I was actually born. I can't really go anywhere. So we are literally trapped. So again, a bit of fun, but I just thought COVID is still having such a major effect on our lives, even in 2021, that it's not a bad thing to include that in a journal thing. And honestly, I was just having fun, but I actually do love how it turned out. I was pretty happy with that. Then the next one, the prompt is paint. So I have a watercolor paint background. I made all sorts of fun things for collage fodder, which was my 100-day project. So I just literally cut up bits, cut out circles, whatever, and just plop them down. And of course I had this gorgeous die cut of a used paint set, so I threw that down there as well, and a little bit of a cutout from a magazine. Again, very simple, very quick, love it. Then the next one is quote. Now, I don't really know why, but I had painted the background with this beautiful copper colored paint. Don't really know why I picked that, but for some reason I did, and I went, oh great, what am I going to do now? So flipping through a magazine again, I found this gorgeous ad for eyeshadows. And I went, oh my gosh, don't they look cool? And they will match my copper. So I cut them out and I stuck them down, and then I got some tealy coloured paint and a toilet roll and popped some circles on just for a bit more contrast. And then this lovely quote, which is part of that paint set that I used previously: art washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life, from Pablo Picasso. And honestly, I do agree, the time I spend crafting, no matter how tired I am, exhausted, it definitely refreshes me and I love doing it. So that's my quote. Then the next one is Happy Mail. Love Happy Mail as a planner girl and a journaler. Getting mail, sending mail, love every bit of it. So again, I've just got some magazine cutouts that relate to mail. I've put down real stamps and cutout stamps, and just look, anything that related to mail. And of course, some of my planner stickers that relate to mail, I have popped down in some of the little blank spots. So that was cute. Oh, that's got a little stuck together, but it's okay. This one is Collage Cluster. I had this bee sitting on my desk and I decided, well, somehow we're going to use this bee. So I just used some texture paste and put the honeycomb pattern down, some craft paper. I had some stamped leaves, so I just cut those out and I popped my bee on there. So again, very quick and very simple. Then this one is Relax. Now, My favourite thing to do is to spend time on the beach. I definitely miss it at the moment. So I had already put a background down, and it was a dark blue piece of tissue paper. So I thought, right, how am I going to turn that into a beach? Okay, so I had some stickers, some coral die cuts, just tore a piece of craft paper to sort of represent the sand. Bare feet welcome, that's what the beach is all about. So it was sort of a quick and easy way to show that the beach is where I love to go to relax. Then the next one is textured. Now, this group of beautiful items was what I received from my other 49 Dragonfly 5-item swap. And there was so many beautiful things in there, but what really triggered me to keep it until the day textured came up on the list was these beautiful embossed paint chips. These are actually paint chip cards that had been embossed and painted, and then I just absolutely love them. And of course the texture on them is fabulous. So I had decided texture was the day. I had so many pretty papers, I couldn't decide what to do. So all I did was I literally tore up strips and I wove them in amongst each other, glued it down. This gorgeous piece of trim was also in the parcel, so I included that. This stamping was in the middle of one of the sheets, so I cut that out. And then this was a beautiful piece that was backed on cardboard, but I peeled it off to create my little belly band there. Again, it's all covered in paint, it's covered in texture. I've actually got a video of this up on my channel if you'd like to see how I did it. But look, it's all pretty straightforward, but love the colours, love the result, lots of texture. So the next one was Negative Space. Again, I had this magazine cut out on my desk and I went, oh, I think we're just going to plop that down because I had this white background. So this embroidery hoop went down. To create the negative space, so to speak, I've cut out a piece of cross-stitch pattern that I happen to have and sat that on top, and then just a few little embroidery bits to fill up a little bit of that space there. Then the next one, again, I didn't know how to do this one. I couldn't decide. The prompt is sparkle. Now, normally I would just cover something with glitter and sequins, but sort of wasn't feeling it. I had picked this paper as to cover my background with because it had like the glitter spots on it. But in the end, I went for something really simple. I've got a video that's coming up soon all about stamping on coffee dyed paper. And so this was one of my little experiments. And I did some sewing, rough sewing, even sewed on a few little beads, and then Wear Your Crown with Pride. So that one sort of probably wasn't as sparkly as I may normally have done, because I do like sparkly things, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. Then the prompt for this one is photograph. So that's a picky of me, and these are my two gorgeous daughters. This is Miss Beck and this is Miss Rachel, or Miss Rebecca and Miss Rachel. So of course, one of my favourite photos. This was actually from Christmas time at a Christmas party we were at. So I've used the photo, just popped a little bit of black behind it so that it contrasted a little bit on top of the coffee dyed paper, and threw down a ton of hearts that were just cut out with hole punches from a variety of papers. And the word blessed, because I most definitely am. I am very lucky to have two fabulous daughters. Next prompt was warmth. Again, I was just having a bit of fun with this. Found the two jumpers in a magazine, went, well, they certainly represent warmth, and a little fire thing, and fluffy pillows, and a knitting mini magazine picture, and a snuggle thing for your bed. And there we go, and some words, because look, we're locked inside. If it's not because of lockdown, it's because it's winter. So just sort of had a bit of a fun play with that one, because I really couldn't decide what else to do. The next one is thankful. Yes, the 27th is thankful. Again, just representing a couple of the things that I love. I love spending time at the beach. This is actually a photo I took when I was up there a couple of months ago because my parents happen to live a few minutes down the road from this mind-blowing beach. So that's that. I love palm trees. I love our subtropical lifestyle. Love mail, happy mail. I love creating. So look, I just stuck down a variety of things. I had this gorgeous little ephemera piece in my stash, so I popped that down. And of course, I love spending time with friends. So this was actually on the same sheet as that one. And I went, guess what? You're both getting a spot in this spread. So that's what I did. Again, quick and simple. Okay, this one was Stencil. I already had this grey background done, and I thought, oh crikeys, okay, let's stencil. So I started off with the black, and while I was waiting for these letters to dry, I went, oh, hang on a minute. So in my collage fodder file that I made, I had stenciled these leaves and all these numbers and this sheet, which is very heavily painted and stenciled, and I just tore some bits up, cut some bits out and stuck them down, and that was stenciling done. Because I was a bit bored, I thought, oh, this is going to take forever. I've got to wait for this to dry and then wait for the next slide. I went, oh, guess what? I've already got stenciled things. We'll put those to good use. Then the next one is growth. Waiting for the spring flowers to start, which hopefully will be soon. Again, these are all pieces that I received from my swap partner. I used the leftovers to make a little belly band. I had all these gorgeous little sheets of paper, so I cut out a few little bits. Look, beautiful stencil coffee dyed paper. This one has a bit of pink in the background and paint splatters. So I sort of made a little mini notebook. She also included this piece of card, which was, what actually was it? No, I've cut off the bits with the word, but I just rolled it over, pressed it down, stapled it up, popped a little heart on. There's also a little envelope that came in that parcel, so that's to hold that in place. And I had beautiful tissue paper and a serviette, and that's what I did. Because again, I already had this grey sort of background stuck down, so I just tried to work with it instead of against it. And of course the bird had the darker grey and stuff in it, so I thought that turned out really sweet. And I've got lots of bits left over to use in other journals, so very happy about that. Now this one prompt was Doodle, so again, collage fodder that I made for the 100-day project involved pieces of paper with doodling on it, and this one here I also did. I then added a flower, doodling with paint, and I went and got a bit carried away with the sewing machine, but I actually like how that turned out. Again, it was quick and simple, and I used up some of the things that I made instead of just hanging on to them all the time. And it's the very last day, and it's the 31st of July, and it's my baby girl's 22nd birthday. So of course, I just had to do a spread that involved her seeing because the prompt was reflections, and of course, I always reflect on the day she was born. And considering she was born blue, because the cord was wrapped around her neck, and I think we got a little too close for comfort and may have lost her, but we didn't. And she is very healthy and very clever and very strong, so all is well. But I'm always very grateful for that. So I already knew I would do something like this. So I had already put all those beautiful hearts down for the background. Of course, that's my baby girl's birthday. And that's that. And we're all done. And there we go. So happy I had it finished on time this year. And now it's like, oh, what am I going to do next? I have no idea, but I'm sure I'll find something. So if you are not a subscriber to this channel, I would love it if you followed along for paper crafting and paper planning videos. And until next time, please stay healthy and stay safe. Bye for now.